This is a conference on Islamic apartheid. Now that is a concept that I'm sure will be unfamiliar and perhaps repugnant to many or most of you, but we are here in the defense of universal human rights for all people.
Sir, sit down! Sit down!
So anyway, the fact is that Tabanda didn't make this up. The fact is that this is a classic part of Islamic law. You can read this in all the manuals of Islamic jurisprudence that are available in English. That is a human rights issue. That's a human rights abuse. And you are standing on the other side and saying, yeah, I'm defending the people who want to kill apostates. The reality is, though, that if you oppose us, as you obviously do, and we are standing and saying we believe in the freedom of conscience and equality of rights for all, then what do you believe in? You know, so the freedom of speech is extinguished within Islam, and we've seen had a vivid illustration of the hypocrisy of the left, of its absolute lack of interest in human rights, of the hypocrisy of the Muslim students when they claim that they are interested in equality of rights and free discourse. The self-appointed guardians of human rights and equality and freedom are actually tools of oppression, violence, and hatred. And we saw it just now. Yeah, I'll look at any religion. There is no other religion that kills people for leaving it.
I think that what this is what you're seeing here is exemplar of the state of intellectual discourse in America. Here we are on a college campus. Here we are in a college campus in America, and I ask you, where is the diversity of opinion? Where is the diversity of thought? Where is the intellectual discourse? Our organization, why are they letting us stay? I mean, this is ridiculous. We came from far away. Give us an opportunity to speak. Our organization is dedicated to freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, and individual rights. Our organization is dedicated to freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, and individual rights. My concern is the growing dehumanization and diminishment of women in the West under the Sharia. We have seen in the West an increase in honor killings, in forced marriage, and particularly here in America. The woman was murdered in Tampa, Florida, and the law enforcement on the scene said that she was badly beaten, and so on and so forth, but because the medical examiner's office, and I know this because I have an informant in the medical examiner's office, they were afraid that they would inflame the Muslim community. Her death was classified as a suicide, that she committed suicide by banging her head on a coffee table repeatedly. You can't bang your head on a coffee table and commit suicide. And no one speaks for this woman. And when we protest and we demand that law enforcement in Florida reopen the case and hire our own private detectives to get the autopsy photos where you see she is beaten and you see her head is beaten, we are called racist, Islamophobic, anti-Muslim bigots. We are not. We speak for Muslim women. Now, Muslim women that want to wear the hijab or want to wear the burqa or want to wear the niqab, all the power to you. But we speak for the woman that is forced to wear the hijab or the niqab or the burqa. Next week, in Dearborn, we're holding the Jessica Mokdad Honor Killing Conference. Now again, here again, we see a great deal of, there's a huge protest scheduled against the haters, which is, it's a surreal world we're living in. I mean, it's an inverted reality when you talk about people that are fighting for freedom and getting smeared and defamed and marginalized and doing it anyway are being called haters. If you side with people that are trying to shut us up and call your attention to it because the media is afraid to do it. The media self-enforces the Sharia. Under the Sharia, if you defame or criticize Islam, it is blasphemy. And in Muslim countries under the Sharia, blasphemers are put to death. In Pakistan, they're put to death. They're assassinated. In the West, your character's assassinated. Muslim girls that don't want to live under the Sharia in the West should be given our full protections. You who are yelling at me, who are not wearing the hijab, who are in a free country and opening up a big mouth to me are completely and utterly free under the Constitution of the United States. Is that not true? Should that not be for every girl like you? Every girl. Shouldn't every girl who wants to wear lipstick and high heel shoes be able to wear them? I can't believe that I'm even having this conversation in this country. But I am. And I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. Look, the best case that I can give you was in 2009. I got a story from a couple of my readers, actual friends, of a girl that had disappeared. Her name was Rifka Barry. Rifka Barry was a young Muslim girl who had converted out of Islam. She hid it from her family because they were devout and she was terrified. Her mosque was spying on her, and the father came home. He was on a business trip, flew home, and said, if you have this Jesus in your heart, I'm going to kill you. Now, she ran away. She ran down to Florida to a pastor because there's no network for these girls. None. Everybody's scared to death to touch the subject.
And she got sued for telling that lie. Rifka Barry did not.
Rifka Barry went to Florida, and what ensued was a court case to bring her back to the household of a family that had threatened to kill her for leaving Islam. And I began to follow this story. And I urge you to go online and go to YouTube and Google Rifka Barry and listen to her own words. Now, the bottom line is because of her legal counsel, because of all of the public, because I was a huge public advocate for Rifka Barry, huge. She was demonized in the media. This sweet little 17-year-old girl, no drugs, no drinking, Christian, as some radical Christian fundamentalist, because she converted out of Islam. And the bottom line is, can you imagine, because she converted to Christianity, how demonized she was, where the newspapers were writing about the sweet little virgin, that she's wearing dark red nail polish and rouge blush. This is what was in the, this is how they were reporting on this story. She was saved. She was saved. And when she was saved, the lawyer for her parents, who had wanted to kill her, sued me for $10 million and lost. Lost. He dropped that lawsuit. What is that? I'll tell you what that is. That is the imposition of the Sharia, shutting down free speech. Because he didn't like what I said about him. Oh, please. The bottom line is, this guy wants to defend, to oppress a young girl who just wants to be free, who just wants to make her own choice. You know, when I look at women, and particularly the feminists and the leftists, how, choice. Well, this is an even more fundamental choice. There are so many girls that secretly write me to get them to a safe house. And you have to understand something. They were raised in Islam. So they have to leave everything. And I mean everything. Every friend, family, home, school. It is such an incredible journey. And if they do, and it becomes public, you become Rifka Barry. Hello? Anyway, I'd like to close, and I'd like you to read my books, because the media is not reporting on this issue. It is a very, scary, and I think for us, for women, the most dangerous issue that we face, because what do you think? It's just Muslim girls and it doesn't matter? It matters. Because if you diminish and dehumanize women in society, it will be you and it will be your daughters that will feel the ill effect. And I urge you to stand for human rights, and to stand for freedom, and to stand for free speech. And free speech was the very first amendment. First! And by the way, political speech is the most protected speech. And understand something, and understand this. It's not just the ideas that we like. That's easy. The First Amendment protects ideas that we don't like. Because then who decides what's good and what's forbidden? Those thugs? This loudmouth?
Please welcome Nani Darwish.
I was born and raised as a Muslim in Cairo, Egypt, Gaza Strip. We're under Islamic law criticizing the religion of Islam. Criticizing Muhammad is punishable by death, even if you repent. Islam is the only religion on earth that punishes those who leave it by death. In America, I am grateful that the penalty for criticizing Islam today on college campuses is only shaming, smearing my reputation, and name-calling us. I never thought I will see the day where the Hamas defenders, where the defenders of the Muslim Brotherhood will get more respect in the United States college campuses than former Muslims and former slaves of the Islamic world who are under a death fatwa right here in the land of the free.
Simon Deng has been instrumental in the building of that society in South Sudan after suffering a great deal under the sanction of slavery within Islam, living most of his childhood as a slave to Muslims in Sudan who routinely capture Christians in the south and enslave and oppress them. This is yet another extraordinary human rights abuse that is sanctioned in Islamic law and ignored by the world human rights community and excused, justified, denigrated, downplayed, or outright denied by Islamic supremacist apologists and their leftist tools on campuses like this one. So please welcome Simon Deng.
Today, I'm speaking to you. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a diplomat. I'm just a simple person, a victim. Yes, of course, when you guys hear about Sudan, simply most people will talk about what is happening in Darfur. And indeed, I will be also that speaking on behalf of the Darfuris who happen to be Muslims, being victimized, being brutalized. Where are you those who walk out? If you are really a true Muslims, why you don't stand up for your fellow Muslim? I will speak of what my people went through under the Islamic law, Sharia law in Sudan. And I will speak with authority, without being afraid of whoever that will stand up, because we put the record straight, and I wish the gentleman he walk away, because I wanted him to have a dialogue in any language, and then even to open the books, whether it is Hadith or Sharia, and the truth has to be known. I was kidnapped at the age of 9, brought to the northern Sudan by an Arab. They went on to beat me and torture me, to silence me because I started crying when I was being told that I would never see Abdullah, until the tears have to end. I have no more tears because nobody came to rescue me. That was the darker days in my life. It began at that moment. I was turned into a piece of property in which that I was forced to do the work that a child at that certain age could not even endure to do, because I was being considered not a human being, I'm a slave. My place is a place where they kept the animals. That by itself, I have to make sure that that place is clean, because this is where I will spend the night. I know only one word, and that word is yes, and yes to everything. This is the history of my peoples. Because it is not me alone who went through what I'm telling you today. Probably you have come to know about so-called lost boys and lost girls. These are my peoples. Each and every one of them have history to tell. And I wish my fellow Muslims who run away, being them so cowardly, would have listened to them. The Muslims in Darfur will still going through what they're going through today, because you as a Muslim, you turn a blind eye. You being hypocrite that you don't want to hear the truth. Think about a child in Darfur who happened in refugees camp today, a Muslim child, not a Christian. A Muslim kid that made me to walk from New York City and walk all the way to Washington, D.C. I didn't walk on behalf of the Christians. I walk on behalf of the Muslims. Because a human being is a human being, regardless whether you being infidels or you being a Muslims. This is the truth of Sudan. My peoples went through a lot. For 57 years, the black Africans in Southern Sudan was slaughtered left and right in the name of Islam. Almost 3 million of them were forced into Islamizations as a way out, either to be convert to Islam or face death. And the United Do-Nothing Nations is aware of all these facts. Nimeri, the president of that country, declared Sudan as an Islamic state. And the Southerners felt, then where will we fit under the Sharia law? Knowing the brutality come with it, because I, as a Christian in Sudan, under that law, I'm not being considered as a citizen of that nation. I'm not now considered as a human being in my own land. Sudan used to be run under kingdom of For, kingdom of Nuba, kingdom of Funy, and kingdom of Shuluk, where I come from. Nimeri went on to tell the Southerners, for those who will not obey and follow the law of the land, I will declare jihad on them. And indeed, the jihad was declared on Southern Sudanese. For the first time ever, every single young man in Sudan was recruited by force to go and slaughter the infidels. And the army was given a marching order that to go and rape every single black girls, to impregnate them so that to produce another kids. Those who was recruited to go and slaughter the infidel in the name of Islam, they went out ruthlessly, with no mercy, and 3.5 million Southern Sudanese was slaughtered. Every single human being in Southern Sudan was left as a displaced person, and for the first time ever. 7 billion Southern Sudanese become refugees, the biggest and the largest since World War II. And that was done in the name of Islam. Today, Sudan is 2 countries. Thank God. Thank God we free at last. That itself, we are not happy. We, the people of Sudan. We, the black people of Sudan, because let me tell you something that most of you don't know. The word itself, Sudan is al-Balad al-Sawda, land of black. Sudan itself, Balad al-Sawda in Arabic, which now being turned into a nation which builds terrorism, a nation that harbored Osama bin Laden, a nation that created Al-Qaeda, was not created in Afghanistan, was created in Khartoum with the help of Dr. Hassan al-Turabi and Hassan Omar al-Bashir, the one in power today. The blind Sheikh Umar Abdurrahman, who come from Egypt, all of them come through Khartoum with the Sudanese documents. And thank you very much.
tonight.
This is our time.
Is there anything that the cops can do with this guy?
Alvaro, you defend the guy named Kevin Deanna, correct?
All right, I guess we're done.
He's Western civilization, who in addition to being a white supremacist, got his start on that same Kevin Deanna. I want to know. What's that same Kevin Deanna?
So what's with the police here? The police don't, okay.
It's very important that we increase awareness of honor killings. You see, as soon as we raise this subject, immediately the knee-jerk reaction of hate, intolerance, bigotry.
Against the politics of division and bigotry promoted by Islamophobia.
In which they sell hatred, fear, and bigotry.
And so on and so forth. Why? To shut it down ASAP. I understand there was a rally today, an anti-Geller, anti-Spencer rally. In other words, it was called backlashophobia, where they paint us as, fear-mongers, that we're raising money. Do I have to tell you what security cost here? Just to tell you, just to talk to you about this message. Why aren't they speaking out against honor killings? I am asking you, why are they not standing up here with me? They made some wisecrack that tell Pamela Geller not to stand up for the Muslim girls in America, but to stand up for the Muslim girls in Palestine.
If she's really concerned about the Muslim girls' rights, I have another plan for her. I ask her to defend the rights of Muslim girls in Palestine.
Well, just for knowing, I am standing up for the Muslim girls in Gaza and Samaria and Judea, who, by the way, are honor slaughtered that you never hear about. The very idea that they're saying that there is no honor killing shows their complete contempt for your intelligence quotient. We know, according to the Reliance of the Traveler, 584, the sanctioning of the killing of offspring, but it's not just that. We are talking about the murder of thousands of girls. This takes an extraordinary amount of money and courage and work, and you are defamed and you are smeared for standing up for a basic fundamental right. There's a lot I would like to say about 91% of the honor killings across the world are Islamic.
That is no accident. It is in a manual of Islamic law, Reliance of the Traveler, or Umdat as-Salik, that is actually certified by Al-Azhar University, which is the foremost authority in Sunni Islam. And Sunni Muslims are 85 to 90% of all Muslims worldwide. And this manual of Islamic law is certified as being a reliable guide to what Islam is. And it says in there that there is no retaliation for a parent who kills a child. There is no penalty. Not only that, Jordan, Syria, Palestinian Authority, Iraq, and elsewhere. If you kill somebody, then you have the various kinds of punishments that prevail around the world. But if you can prove that it was an honor killing, you get off lightly. And in Jordan, the Jordanian parliament actually several years ago tried to stiffen penalties for honor killings. And it was Islamic clerics who opposed this measure and ultimately defeated it, saying that it would weaken the family. We have to face the facts that if we're going to defend the human rights of these girls who are threatened, then we have to face that this is an Islamic problem. And this does not mean that every Muslim in the world is going to kill his daughter, but the justifications for this practice are in Islamic law, and that is why 91% of honor killings take place among Muslims. And unless and until we face that, and unless and until we call upon the Muslim community in the United States and worldwide to face it, more girls are going to die.
And what they don't tell you is about the suicides. How many suicides there are. In 2007 alone, in England, 270 women threw themselves in front of a train, many with their Muslim children, just to get out of the shame, because it's part of their psyche too. They're reared on it. They've shamed the family also. It's horrible. It's horrible, this honor code. And we must speak against it, and we cannot respect it. We have to marginalize it, pariahicize it, and make it absolutely forbidden in this country.
You can can behave in a certain way, but you cannot violate other people. The minute